If you are over 60, this video is especially for you, and I ask you to stay with me until the end, because the information I'm going to share can truly change your life. Have you ever stopped to think that a simple fruit, one that you've probably been eating for years, could be silently increasing your risk of having a stroke during the night? Without any symptoms, without warning, you go to bed feeling fine and suddenly wake up unable to speak, walk, or even move one side of your body. I know this sounds unbelievable and even scary, but I can assure you, as a brain specialist, I've seen this happen many times, and what's worse, not because of the obvious villains like smoking or fast food, but because of fruit. That's right, something we've always thought of as the epitome of health can, over the years and with natural changes in our bodies, become a real risk. After 60, our vital organs like kidneys, liver, blood vessels, and the brain itself process sugar, potassium, and acid differently. Moreover, medications we take, slower circulation, and dehydration that occurs during sleep create a dangerous combination. All of this can turn an apparently harmless fruit into a silent threat that acts while you sleep. In today's video, I will reveal the 6 most common fruits that, if consumed incorrectly or at the wrong time, may be harming your health more than you imagine. We will talk about each of them, understand the reasons behind it, and most importantly, how to consume them safely to protect your brain and heart. And pay close attention. The 6th fruit, the last one on the list, is the real key to this video. Many people would never imagine it could pose such a great risk, and this information could completely change the way you take care of your health daily. If you want to keep receiving practical, science-based tips focused on your well-being, take this chance to subscribe to the Longevity channel. Leave the word AWARE in the comments below to show you are taking control of your health. Now, without further delay, let's discover together which fruits deserve your extra attention. Let's start with one of the most popular and beloved fruits, the banana. That soft, sweet fruit many of us have loved since childhood. Easy to digest, full of nutrients, it always seems like a safe choice for a quick snack. But here's the crucial point. After age 60, eating bananas, especially when they're very ripe, might not be as harmless as it seems. This happens because as the banana ripens, its starch turns into sugar, making it sweeter. And a very ripe banana has a high glycemic index, meaning it causes blood sugar to spike quickly, which is dangerous for those whose metabolism slows down with age. Additionally, our kidneys start working less efficiently, insulin sensitivity decreases, and blood vessels lose elasticity. In practice, this means a simple, very ripe banana can cause a rapid increase in blood sugar, raise blood pressure, and even affect heart rhythm due to excess potassium. Let me tell you about Margaret, a 76-year-old retired librarian. She used to start her day with a smoothie made with very ripe bananas, believing she was making a healthy choice. But one day, after waking up dizzy and with slurred speech, she was taken to the hospital and diagnosed with a mild ischemic stroke. The combination of high sugar, excess potassium, and typical morning dehydration created a dangerous scenario. After that episode, Margaret changed her habits. She started consuming less ripe bananas, always after hydrating, and eating a source of protein to slow sugar absorption. The result? Renewed energy, more stable blood pressure, and much more confidence in her daily life. The lesson here is clear. Bananas themselves are not the enemy, but eating too many very ripe bananas or consuming them on an empty stomach can silently increase stroke risk. And beware, this is not an isolated case. Other common fruits can also pose similar risks, and that's what we'll talk about next. Now, let's talk about grapes. Those small, sweet, refreshing berries many people love. They seem harmless, almost like a healthy treat. But the truth is, they're a concentrated source of natural sugar.
Even seedless grapes, especially the sweeter varieties found in most grocery stores, are loaded with glucose and fructose. When you eat a handful of grapes, especially on an empty stomach, that sugar goes straight into your bloodstream, causing a rapid and high spike. This can be particularly dangerous for those over 60. As we age, our bodies respond more slowly to insulin, the hormone that helps control blood sugar, and blood vessels become more fragile and less flexible. This sudden sugar spike isn't just a quick burst of energy. It triggers microscopic inflammation in the delicate blood vessels, especially those leading to the brain. The body tries to repair this damage by forming small clots to patch the holes. At first, these clots are so tiny they go unnoticed, but day after day, they accumulate, increasing the risk of a silent stroke. Let me share the story of Evelyn, a 79-year-old retired music teacher who had the habit of eating grapes mid-morning while reading a book. She enjoyed them so much that she'd sometimes eat up to 2 cups without thinking. One day, Evelyn noticed her hand trembling and had trouble spelling "congratulations" while writing a birthday card to her grandson. Frightened, she was taken to the hospital where she was diagnosed with a small stroke, called a transient ischemic attack. This experience showed that even seemingly healthy foods, if consumed the wrong way, can become dangerous. The takeaway is, never eat grapes on an empty stomach or in large quantities. Prefer to eat a small handful, always paired with some protein or healthy fat like almonds or a piece of cheese to slow sugar absorption. And if possible, avoid eating them at night when the body slows down. Just like with bananas, the secret lies in balance and timing when consuming these fruits. But there are still more surprising fruits to discuss, and the next one will impress you. Next, we move on to pineapple. That sweet, refreshing tropical fruit many people eat after dinner. Although it seems like a light choice, for those over 60, especially those taking medications or with circulation problems, pineapple can pose hidden risks. The fruit is rich in bromelain, an enzyme that aids digestion and reduces inflammation. However, scientific studies indicate that in high doses or when combined with blood thinners, medications that thin the blood, bromelain can increase the risk of bleeding, including cerebral hemorrhages, a severe form of stroke. A study published in the Journal of Medicinal Food warns about this important interaction, which should be considered by those on these medications. Additionally, pineapple has a high glycemic index, causing blood sugar to rise rapidly. This sugar concentration, along with the fruit's acid, can cause silent reflux during the night, often without clear symptoms. This reflux allows small amounts of stomach acid to reach the airways during sleep, reducing oxygen to the brain, which is linked to morning strokes, which are often the most severe. I want to share the experience of Clara, a 77-year-old retired choir director. She used to replace traditional desserts with pineapple slices every night, thinking she was making a healthy choice. But one morning, Clara woke up dizzy and with impaired speech. Tests confirmed a small stroke, resulting from a combination of excess sugar, acidity, and silent reflux. Therefore, it's best to consume pineapple in small amounts and preferably during the day, never on an empty stomach, and avoid eating it before bed, especially for those on blood thinners or with circulation problems. With moderation and care, pineapple can still be a delicious and nutritious ally for your health.
Now let's talk about watermelon, that refreshing, juicy fruit composed of about 90% water, which many consider the best option to stay hydrated, especially on hot days. However, as harmless as it seems, watermelon can pose silent risks for people over 60, particularly those on blood pressure medications or diuretics. Although mostly water, watermelon contains a significant amount of fructose, the natural sugar found in fruit. Unlike glucose, fructose is almost exclusively processed by the liver, and when consumed in excess, it can overload the organ, contribute to insulin resistance, and cause systemic inflammation. Studies have linked high fructose intake to metabolic changes that harm cardiovascular health
and increase the risk of events like stroke. Additionally, watermelon acts as a natural diuretic, stimulating urine production. For seniors already on medications that remove fluids from the body, this combination can lead to silent dehydration, a state where the body loses more water than you realize. This dehydration thickens the blood and slows circulation, increasing the chance of clot formation, especially in blood vessels already weakened by aging. Let me tell you about Howard, an 82-year-old retiree who took good care of his health. He walked daily, avoided sweets, and took his medications correctly. One of his routines was eating 2 to 3 large slices of watermelon after dinner to cool down and stay hydrated. However, one morning he woke up dizzy and fainted while trying to stand up. At the hospital, it was found that Howard had suffered a mild ischemic stroke caused by nighttime blood clotting worsened by dehydration. The recommendation is clear: consume watermelon in moderation and preferably during the day when you are more active and can replenish fluids more easily. If you take diuretics or blood pressure medications, talk to your doctor before making watermelon a daily habit, especially at night. Remember, not every fruit that seems hydrating actually works that way for your body, especially as you age. Understanding how your body reacts is essential to keeping your health on track. Now, let's talk about oranges, a widely known and consumed fruit, especially for its high vitamin C content and refreshing flavor. Whether in juice form, segments, or part of recipes, oranges are a staple in many diets. But for those over 60 taking medications, they may present some important considerations. First, it's crucial to understand that there are different types of oranges, each potentially having a slightly different impact on the body. For example, Bahia orange, also known as pear orange, lime orange, and Salida orange are common varieties that tend to have varying levels of bioactive compounds, including flavonoids and furanocoumarins, substances that directly influence drug interactions. The big issue lies with furanocoumarins, natural compounds found in several citrus fruits, including oranges, grapefruit, and even lesser-known varieties like Seville orange. These substances interfere with liver enzymes, especially those in the cytochrome P450 system, which are responsible for metabolizing many common medications such as cholesterol-lowering statins, calcium channel blockers for blood pressure, and blood thinners. When these enzymes are inhibited by furanocoumarins, the body processes medications more slowly, causing them to accumulate in the bloodstream. This can lead to dangerous side effects: excessive blood pressure drops, increased risk of bleeding from unstable blood thinners, and even muscle inflammation or brain fog caused by toxic statin levels. Let me tell you about Albert, an 82-year-old retiree who loved starting his day with fresh squeezed Bahia orange juice alongside his heart and cholesterol medications. Over time, he began experiencing dizziness, confusion, and eventually suffered a mild stroke. Medical investigation revealed that the daily orange juice habit interfered with his medication metabolism, causing serious side effects. Therefore, the recommendation for people in this age group who take important medications is clear: limit orange juice consumption, especially if it's from types higher in furanocoumarins like Seville orange. In many cases, it's best to avoid the juice altogether and discuss with your doctor the best alternatives to ensure your medications work effectively. If you can't give up the citrus flavor, try adding a splash of lemon or lime to water, which contain fewer of these compounds and have less interaction with medications. Understanding the differences between orange varieties and their effects on your body can make all the difference for your health and safety. Finally, let's talk about mango, a tropical fruit much loved for its sweet, juicy, and refreshing flavor. However, despite seeming like a natural and healthy option, mango deserves special attention, especially for those over 60 taking medications. One surprising fact about mango is that 1 cup of ripe mango contains about 45 grams of natural sugar, more than what's found in a regular donut. This high sugar content, mostly in the form of fructose, can trigger an inflammatory process in the arteries, contributing to the hardening and narrowing of blood vessels. This chronic inflammation facilitates the formation of clots that significantly increase the risk of stroke. Besides the sugar impact, mango contains a bioactive compound called mangufrin. Recent scientific studies have shown that mangufrin can interfere with liver activity, specifically the cytochrome P450 enzyme system, which metabolizes many medications used to control blood pressure, cholesterol, and heart conditions. When these enzymes are impaired by mangufrin, medications tend to accumulate in the body, raising blood levels and increasing the risk of side effects, such as dizziness, weakness, changes in heart rhythm, and even episodes of dangerously low blood pressure. Let me share the story of William, an 83-year-old retired firefighter who, seeking healthier eating habits, replaced cookies with dried mango, which concentrates even more sugar than fresh mango. He was on medication for atrial fibrillation and high blood pressure. After a few weeks, William began feeling frequent dizziness and one morning fainted while trying to get out of bed. At the hospital, exams showed that he had suffered a mild ischemic stroke and that his medication levels were abnormally high due to mango's interference with liver metabolism. The lesson here is clear. If you enjoy mango, eat only small portions and preferably during the day, never on an empty stomach or at night. Avoid dried mango, which has an even higher sugar concentration. And most importantly, if you're on heart, blood pressure, or cholesterol medications, always talk to your doctor before regularly including mango in your diet. Remember, mango can be a tropical delight, but it requires special attention to protect your brain, your heart, and your overall health. So, did you like learning these important details about these 6 very common fruits in our daily lives? As we've seen, even natural and considered healthy foods can present silent risks, especially for those over 60 who take medications or have health conditions. The key is to understand how our bodies change with age, know the effects these foods can have, and learn how to consume them as safely as possible, whether at the right time of day, in the right amounts, or paired with other foods that help to balance their impact. If you want to dive even deeper into this topic and have a complete, organized material full of practical tips, we've prepared a special ebook with all this content, available for a symbolic price. This is a way for you to support the Longevity Channel so we can keep bringing reliable, science-based information to you and our entire community. So subscribe to the channel right now so you don't miss any updates, leave your like if you found this video helpful, and comment "Aware" below to show you're responsibly taking care of your health. Thank you so much for watching until the end. Your health deserves all this attention and care.